preamble, and I'm switching over to. It says it's Firearms Friday stream. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and let Rumble know. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're live.
Yeah, we're live. This is absolutely riveting content.
Well, you can talk. Hey, Cameron, how you been? Where you been? What's going on? What are you thankful for? And
what am I thankful for? That I don't have to work today.
yeah, no, good God, dude.
Okay,
I finished my day in Rome yesterday, not the good Rome.
Hey, man. Rome has a lot of nice things to offer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, they do. It's like 75 miles away from where we sit right now, so I see why that was a problem for you, but...
Yeah, that was the problem.
No, what am I thankful for? In all seriousness, I think at this point, we have known each other for 25 years. I think we have cracked the quarter century mark. So what am I thankful for? That we've known each other for 25 years and we've been friends for the majority of it. I'm thankful that I could come to your studio, and I'm glad to see Unverified Bear in the comments because you, sir, have inspired part of this morning's commentary. So happy Thanksgiving to you as well, sir. So that's what I'm thankful for. What else am I thankful for? The fact that we live in a world where I can go to the grocery store that's just a few miles away from the new house that I live at. Well, new to me. The house itself is like 80 years old, but whatever. But I can go to the grocery store today, and they never run out of coffee. Like, capitalism is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. That's something that I'm definitely thankful for because man, like that hot bean juice, man. This
is a non-negotiable here.
Yeah, if you're having a bad morning, what helps? Coffee. If you're having a good morning, what helps? Coffee.
Yep.
No, just coffee. What was it you said yesterday? The correct way to use a double negative is the answer is never not coffee.
Correct. The answer is never not coffee.
So it's Thanksgiving. I'm here and missed you guys, and I'm going to continue to have to not be here for some time because I have been. But there's where you move the camera to. Okay. And I've missed you guys. I'm going to have to continue to not be here for some time. It's not necessarily that I don't want to be, but see the above comment about how the new to me house is a thing, which requires a lot of working. But you know what, man? And this is important. I'm thankful to have a job, afford the new house. Like that is one of those things that the sooner you get that through your head in any capacity, that by and large, anything and everything that ever happened to you in your life is your fault. You have this emotional reaction to that. I know that I do. But as soon as you can push past that emotion and really chew into the logos of that and just take ownership of your life, there's quite literally almost nothing you can't do as long as you're willing to invest sweat and time. You just have to accept the fact that it's on your shoulders. And that is not a burden. That is the breaking of your chains. I'm not going to wax all super poetic here, but so those are the things that I'm thankful for. You, coffee, and the opportunity to work hard and actually have something I can be happy and proud of as a result. Also, everybody, I just want to say, this Thanksgiving, I have done a thing I have never done before.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear more about this actually.
So, so in this place,
real quick,
go ahead.
Just because, so we had some technical difficulties this morning. The camera is backwards because we're streaming through the Restream Studio app instead of our usual OBS setup, which is some behind the scenes, behind the curtain type of stuff. But I was typing in the comments on Rumble to let people know that the stream had failed and broken and we had to do the backup. I didn't have time to reset the Rumble stream, but apparently Rumble was smart enough to pick it up. So the dozen or so of you guys that are watching over on Rumble, thanks for sticking around for that. And it's good to see you guys this morning. And there's my mother, who I know is already cooking because Ma Lowry does not fuck around about that kitchen. Y'all, if
Oh, Fish and Golf found us. Yeah, we saw you on the broken stream. Glad you joined us.
Yeah, Fish and Golf gets he had first blood on the original stream. And cheers to you, mate.
Okay, so this is what I've done. I deboned my entire turkey. See, got a place with my brother, right? That's the other side of this. And my brother works for an Italian restaurant and had gained a bit of weight between the pasta and the pizza and the alcohol, as tends to happen. So even though it's kind of challenging in that environment, he decided to go full-blown keto. And he's lost like 40 pounds. But that means certain things like gravy are a huge no-no for him.
I've often considered the keto diet because it sounds to me like an excuse to just eat bacon. And I ain't gonna lie, that's sexy as socks on a rooster right there.
He literally eats 3 pieces of bacon, 3 fried eggs, and an avocado for breakfast morning. With, as some of you will know, I've introduced him to the jalapeno salt.
Hell yes.
Which is fantastic on avocado.
It's delicious. It's effective. It's I've used Salt Cure for dry brining and marinating steaks and poultry, and it's an effective chemical weapon as well.
So I have deboned my turkey entirely, which was a project, but it was done. And I actually did this yesterday so I could go ahead and take the bones, and they have been simmering in the crock pot since yesterday, so that instead of gravy, we could top our turkey with demi-glace. Because when you're on keto, baby, you can have all the meat and fat you want.
Yep.
So, yeah. And look, I would love some gravy, but I'm not going to be sad that I have demi-glace to top my turkey with. Not at all. So, anyhow, you did all the typey, and I did all the talky. Do you have anything?
Hey, talky, good, baby. We ain't seen you in monthly.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to?
They miss you. Y'all, I am thankful to be fat, happy, and retired in America. I'm thankful for my hot young wife and my beautiful children who are all down at the farm with my brilliant and wonderful parents. And I'll be hitting the road shortly after the show today. I made the children a promise, and I took the time last night to charge batteries, so we should be ready to rock and roll. Maybe a system update or two aside. We're going to be flying the whole drone fleet over the farm today and taking some aerial photography, and that should be a lot of fun. It'll be the first time for the kids actually flying the birds, and I know they're all really looking forward to that, especially my little man. I'm thankful for wild game because apparently there's a deer heart in the offing today for a sort of early afternoon snack, an appetizer before we get into the proper gluttonous consumption. And I am thankful to be of a constitution that I can continue to enjoy these blessings. And at the end of the day, say things like, I have not yet begun to defile myself.
I will not be pawed at.
So, hell yeah. Now, unverified, you wanted to talk about this, and I think it's a great one.
But look,
Go ahead.
before we get there, I feel like we should. That's the thing I'd like to close the show on, and I think this will segue us nicely. Thanks, America. Right, and this is going to kind of open it up. It's two parts. Thanksgiving in America is a very uniquely spiritual American thing, and if you know anything about American media, you know that this is something that began with Rush Limbaugh, and now has gone forward. And I think it is a practice worth considering, and that is talking about the original Thanksgiving here in America. See, what we were taught in schools is that basically these dumb white Christian men came over here and the noble savages just saved our ass. And that's the entire story.
No, then we murdered them all.
Well, it was smallpox blankets, even though, you
Right.
know, like the whole theory of
Before
virology.
germ theory,
yeah,
let alone germ warfare.
yeah, like another 150 years, but whatever. And that's one of those things where, yeah, there's some truth in that, but man, there's a lot of lie by omission there. Okay. So there was a man, William Bradford. Okay. And
just one of the big lies by omission. Well, it's not even a lie by omission. That story often includes the Indians riding up on their beautiful white horses with the paint with the handprints painted on them. That's one of my favorite lies.
I'm missing something.
They didn't have fucking horses. We brought them those.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They didn't have horses or the wheel.
Yeah. They didn't have either. They apparently really liked those things.
They had nearly figured out fire.
Anyhow, okay. So we all know that in the early 1600s, there were a few colonies that were established in the New World. They were established for reasons of freedom of religion. And it was actually pretty impressive because basically what would happen is a couple hundred people would get together. They'd pool all the limited money that they had. They'd charter a boat to basically go to a new continent and live the rest of their life there. And there was no support network. I started out by talking about, hey, I go to the grocery store a few miles away from my house, and there's always coffee there. Well, if you've never been to northeastern America in winter, y'all, it's cold and damp, and it's not when you want to land your boat and start a colony. And yet,
yeah, no shit.
And yet, that's what happened to these people. So,
and real quick, you mentioned they're going to charter a boat, set sail for the New World, and part of the plan there is no. This is the plan.
Yeah.
Like there's not a return. We're not coming back.
Yeah. No, step two.
We're gonna be in transit for a long period of time, at the end of which the place where we have arrived will be where we live or die. And in fact, it will be the place that we eventually die because the return trip is not an option. When you're talking about the pilgrims setting sail for the New World, the modern equivalent is getting on SpaceX to go to Mars for the colonization mission, right? Because of the level of technology and its rudimentary nature and the limitations of the time, the trip to the New World was very much akin to when we do actually send people to attempt to colonize Mars for the first time.
So yeah. So William Bradford found himself the governor of one of the very first colonies here. 1620, 21, pretty early in the 1600s. Funny enough, despite what the 1619 Project would tell you, they didn't have a whole bunch of slaves. It just wasn't a thing. On the way over, they had accidentally backed into socialism. And here's what I mean. They decided before they got here how they were going to govern themselves when they got here, and they were deliberately trying to emulate a Christian government. They were trying to fuse the two things together. And so what was decided is that they would have his ability, they would contribute. And a not terribly surprising but terrible thing happened. People didn't contribute enough. And
But they ate.
Well, some of them.
But the economy will eat.
Well, some of them. Okay. Some of them. See, they got here and see the above comment about the cold, damp winter. They started to run out of food, and it was shocking. These people were farmers. These were hardy people that understood how to work the land. If you had a group of people that had a shot at making this colony work without a disastrous collapse, it would have been a group of people like this. And yet they experienced this disastrous collapse, and about half the colony died, including William Bradford's wife. And I really want you to wrap your brain around that. Like, you know, if you go back to the office tomorrow, half the people at your office are dead. Except you don't get to take the time off. You have to keep going to work. Half the people in your neighborhood are dead, but you still got to go back to your house and sleep there. And that was the world these people inhabited. So the next year, William Bradford had enough presence of mind and also had a deep enough spirituality to thank God for having the inspiration to do this. William Bradford said, you know what? Fine. I'm just going to give everybody a piece of land. You do whatever you want with it. Any of your excess, you can trade, sell, barter, whatever. And literally in from socialism to capitalism, this group of pilgrims saved themselves from extinction. Yes, they traded with the Indians. Yes, the Indians helped them, showed them things about corn and turkeys and whatever. And all that happened. The rest of the story is they made a terrible mistake. It cost them dearly. Situation. They decided we're going to try something different, and it worked. So yeah, that was the first Thanksgiving here in America. So that's how far back the spirituality of the holiday goes. Back to the beginning of what again the 1619 Project would call you is that recorded white man's history, so to speak.
So the wife and I have been doing Financial Peace University. I talked about this when we were on the show the other day. We started doing it because Dave Ramsey just gave it away for free. And one of the things he talks about in that is that you can read Proverbs and like God gives you great financial advice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And to your point about the spirituality and understanding what had happened, right? You got 2 Thessalonians, he who does not work shall not eat. You want to follow our example. We're not idle when we were with you, nor did we eat anyone's food without paying for it. On the contrary, we worked night, day, laboring and toiling, so that we not be a burden, but in order to offer ourselves as a model for you to imitate. Right? One who is slacking his work to his brother on deep sleep, the shiftless go hungry, and through laziness the rafters sag because of idle hands the house leaks. So charity, I have some pretty deep qualms and problems with charity on a philosophical level. But when you talk about the spirituality and the faith around Thanksgiving, a big part of what makes America America is the industriousness of the American spirit, the drive to achieve, not just the drive to succeed, right? Success can look like a lot of different things. It can look like you're rich. It can look like your bills are paid. It can look like you're never hungry or cold. Success might look different for different people, but achievement, right? Doing an old thing in a new way, or doing a new thing entirely, is undeniable, right? One might quibble over whether or not a new thing is really a new thing, but that's semantic stuff. What I'm talking about is that we live in a country where, and this is one of the things that I'm most thankful for, you may choose to engage in labor exchange. And sometimes you do that at risk. You choose to engage in labor on speculation that the end product will have value that attracts reward. Sure. But you have the liberty to do that. You have the liberty and the ability to acquire and accumulate capital to that purpose. You can work and you can eat. Right?
Yeah, no, the incentive matters. Like all living things are incentivized toward their own life. And because the human animal is the most complex and highest functioning animal on the planet, our incentives, while varied and nuanced, are not terribly different than the incentive of the lion that just wants to kill a zebra. It is the same thing at a basic biological level. But because we're intelligent, because we can be varied and nuanced, we're smart enough to know, well, why am I going to bust my ass and potentially still starve because nobody else is going to work as hard as I do? Why would I do that? Whereas the opposite is also true. Oh, if I bust my ass, I can take my extra and barter it for whatever I want. Well, I happen to be the kind of person that will bust his ass. I want to have a lot of extra so I can have a lot of barter. The kind of person who works 6 a.m. to 2:30 every day, and then by you're not 4 a.m., 4 p.m., you're sitting on the couch drinking a beer while you got a hungry man heating up in the microwave. You are free to do that.
Not for long.
That might be happiness to you. But there are certain things in life you are not going to have. You're not going to take many vacations to Aruba with that lifestyle.
No.
You're just not. The flip side is, if you are willing to work 70, 80, 90 hours a week because you want to go to Aruba every year, you can also do that. And that is part of what the Pilgrims stumbled into. Like one of the amazing things about the Bible, it's why it has endured as a text for millennia now, is not just its spiritual value, but its practical value. You know, when they were like, hey, don't eat pork, it wasn't because bacon didn't taste good. Bacon tastes good, but up until a couple hundred years ago, uh, we just didn't have the technology to guarantee that that pig wasn't riddled with parasites by the time it hit your plate. You could die from eating a pork chop. Beef was just safer to eat, period. So when the Bible gave you that advice, it wasn't just spiritual, it had dramatic impact on your life. I've often
And
wondered,
we still don't do pig tartare.
right, right. I've often wondered, how was it known thousands of years ago that shellfish was dangerous to eat? Now, obviously, because somebody ate it, got sick, and died. But
Right.
how was it known enough to have like specific practices for eating kosher, for example? Because one good thing about eating kosher, it's a lot cleaner. Like, how did they know? It's its own particular rabbit hole. I'm not trying to drag us down, but
Okay, you wanted to
yes.
wait, you wanted to before we got there.
Go ahead. You got anything you want to add before we
So
get there?
no,
Aruba. I like the way the women dress in Aruba.
I imagine Aruban's like Aruba. At least I hope they do.
Well,
let me tell you something. When you live on an island, if you don't like it, that's rough.
it doesn't matter.
4 years in Hawaii, we took a left out the driveway. Hour and a half later, you take a left back at the driveway. That's Oahu. You synced it. Gone for 3 hours, you took in a luau, had a couple of Mai Tais. Congratulations, you've done the tour.
Anyhow, but no, if you don't have anything else to add, this to get back to the part that Bering inspired. So
Bering, I mean, unverified bear, dude. If Bering watched the show every day, that would be some shit right there.
That's right. That's
if anybody knows the dude, reach out.
yeah, but no. Anyhow, so I'll tee this up and then shut up and let you have the floor for a minute. Bear, unverified bear, rather, you posted something that really made me think, gave me some new perspective. How you were actually sort of impressed by Thanksgiving in America because it was like our own personal American Christmas. That it was a beautiful holiday to observe from the outside looking in because of how unique it is. And man, that really got me thinking, and not a strict one-to-one analog, but like Boxing Day is a thing we're aware of here in America. That's right.
No, Bear, we know.
But it's a unique thing for us. It's a unique thing for us from the outside looking back in. And it really kind of occurred to me that maybe it's important that we continue to openly celebrate Thanksgiving because we are thankful on a practical and even spiritual level. Even if you are an atheist, Thanksgiving's got a lot for you to be thankful for, because even if you're an atheist, even if you have like no family, I know 3 or 4 people, that you included, of course, but I know 3 or 4 families I could call right now and I could say, I don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And they would say, dude, come over.
Yeah, we can at least unfold another chair. I mean, worst case scenario, you're on the porch eating at the rail, but we got you.
No,
we got you, boo.
No, bro, I'll take a paper plate drowned in gravy. I'll do that in a hot minute.
You know why we use paper plates for Thanksgiving dinner, right? So you fold it up. You don't want to waste that gravy.
Right.
It's kind of like when you're making tacos, right? So you just put a tortilla shell on your plate before you start eating your taco, and oh hey, another taco. um, but yeah, so this morning we talked a lot about the faith and how faith has informed Thanksgiving, but in a very technical sense, Thanksgiving is a secular holiday. It doesn't require a faith to be a part of what it is, because what it is about recognizing the the benefits, recognizing the achievements, recognizing the fruits of your labors, right? If you don't attribute that to a higher power, there's still value in taking the time to reflect on how your works have come to fruition, how they've developed, how they've unfolded, and what you've reaped from those efforts. And in a way, it's not a bad time to think about the work that you've done that hasn't produced anything, and say, okay, I've got experiences there. I can be thankful for learning. You can never fail. You can only quit. Right? The mission's not over until you are. Um. Well,
You, Silvio, duh.
yeah. Welcome to the show, homeboy. So the whole thing is a great time to just reflect on what you've done this year, and that's a great way for anybody. I don't care what your religion, nationality, etc. is, to kind of develop yourself. Right? It's a good time intellectually, philosophically, and yes, religiously, if that's what's part of you, to just think about what you did to make yourself better, how you're as a result of what act. And while you're at it, go ahead and take the time to say, well, I also tried these other things and those didn't work so great. So maybe I don't try those again. And now you've learned something, right? So, nothing comes from nothing, but something always comes from something. Putting in an effort, even in failure, is there's value there.
Yeah, learning what doesn't work. The that I mean, failure is an excellent teacher. And Waller is leaving, and I hate it because he said, I think actually touches on a huge point here. He says this is a great example of why self-esteem is a society killer and was promoted above self-confidence for that sole intended purposes. Um,
Yeah, I wrote a note down about that. I'm going to talk about that next week, I think.
yeah, I'm going to just briefly touch it here. I'm going to say the things that I'm about to say, and this is not an pity Cameron thing, but I have had some things happen in my life that were upsetting. And I have actually embraced mental health as being every bit as important of a concept as physical health. If something's wrong with your teeth, you go to the dentist with no shame. In fact, there is shame in not going to something is wrong with your teeth. But for some reason, for a lot of people, mental health is the inverse. Well, something's wrong with you if you go see a counselor. No, something's wrong with you if you don't go see a counselor when you have a problem. One of the things that mental health teaches you, it is not that you feel good, so then you start to do good. That is not the order of operations. That is not how human beings are built. The reverse is the truth. You do good, and it's like a magic trick. Literally, in just a matter of a few days of productivity, you begin to feel better about yourself. And Thanksgiving in particular is an opportunity to really bring that together, because what do? Well, you get up early or even start the day before, as I did. Bro, you know what I know about that turkey that I deboned? It's going to be delicious. Even if it's mediocre, even if it's mediocre, it's going to be delicious. You know why? Because I looked ahead. I worked hard. I started thawing my turkey Saturday morning.
You know, I ended the show yesterday with it. If you haven't pulled your turkey out to thaw yet, you've already failed. Go get you a honey baked ham. Give up.
Yes. Oh, Silvio, I wish you'd have been here for the beginning of the show.
Yeah, you missed the whole.
We talked about that
covered
exact thing. Yes.
Well, that's okay. I don't. Do you have anything else, brother?
Just happy Thanksgiving. I just want to say hello to let's see, your dad was on Rumble. Can I have control?
Good morning,
of the
Your
thing?
Majesty.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. We had Unverified Bear. Happy Thanksgiving. Brother, if you ever make your way over to the colonies, we drink Guinness, and we'd be happy to share with you. It's not as good as your European Guinness, I've been told, but still Guinness.
Yeah, but we can introduce you to some things like a left hand.
That's true.
That's
true. Oh yeah, we've got all these IPA. Goose Island.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're a brewer out of Chicago. Delicious.
I'm gonna be drinking old fashions with Sergeant Major in a little while, so
I have fun with that. But just for you and for everybody else, try the bear hug, and it's got a bear on the can, and it is a pun about having.
I see.
Try it. It's delicious. It's also 10% alcohol by volume. So
I enjoy omnivore related puns.
So
10% by volume, man. When we were on our way back from Afghanistan, we had our layover in Manis Airfield in Kyrgyzstan, and they told us that we could have 2 beers a day. I'm in line with all these soldiers that just came out of Afghanistan. We haven't had a drop of alcohol in 365 days.
Yeah, they're like,
and they're looking at the
Light.
very, very limited menu. And, you know, there was Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, and all this. And there were some beers that nobody recognized. And they were in the standard size can. And then I saw this thing. I said, "Hey, let me see that." And the bartender handed me the can, and it was 24-ounce can, and it said 12% by volume.
And you were like, "I'm taking it." It was
huge. So it was twice as big as everybody else's beer, twice the amount of alcohol as everybody else's beer. Now I'm twice the dude of everybody else there. We had a couple other guys catch on when I said, "I'll have the Baltica 9, thank you." So I was pleasantly. I had a pretty pleasant buzz going on.
Rosy glow.
I was surrounded by 21, 22-year-old skinny little soldiers that it took them a little further down the road. 10% by volume is nothing to mess with.
Yeah, so happy Thanksgiving to Thomas Waller, who says, "I can debone him any day." Brother, good effort. Good effort. But if you want to make a truly disgusting pun, you have to add bones, not take them away. We're not down with that tranny shit here. So let's see. David Mathay, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, there's Ma. Happy Thanksgiving. Sorry I won't be there today, but the brother and I discussed it, and we wanted to have Thanksgiving at our house. I'm sure you understand, but I promise I'm going to come visit you because your food is worth it. If you lived in California, your food would be worth the plane ticket. Fish and golf. Happy Thanksgiving.
Don't skip Danny.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm scrolling. And of course, there is Danny with the Fit Life with Danielle. I'm already looking forward to the vlog that says, "So you gained 4 pounds this week." Don't panic. Just get back on the wagon.
So I don't worry about gaining 4 pounds over the holiday weekend. I don't worry about that at all. I lose 4 or 5 pounds every morning. We're good. Let's keep.
Ew. I worry about it. I've worked very hard and have even had people observe that I have lost weight. Thank you very much.
You have noticeably lost weight, and I don't think about my weight as much as I should anymore because when I was active duty, it was a big damn deal, and the whole time I was in the Army, I was fit, I was trim, I was slim, I was down to an amazing skinny, 12% body fat at 260 pounds. and I run 100 miles a week, careful diet. I was starving. I was so hungry.
Hey, just another thing about keto. Apparently, once your body flips into ketosis, you're not starving anymore. I mean, probably because you eat meat for every meal, which helps. But let's see.
Correct shot says you're misquoting the Ferengi law of commerce number 375.
Rules of acquisition.
Laws of acquisition. You're correct.
Rules of acquisition. I'm going to Star Trek rules Nazi you on this one.
Okay, rules of acquisition. If you buy a man a fish, you feed him for the day, and if you teach a man to fish, you lose a repeat customer.
Yes. But happy Thanksgiving to Crackshot, and I think and then Silvio Dante. I'm going to assume New Jersey. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir.
Maybe he's a coffee fan.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to assume if he's still up, if he's up right now, he's drinking coffee, or he's still up from the night before. And
I was making a terribly tasteless joke about the NJ. Oh, that's for the Marines, and I won't say it out loud on the show.
Not while we're on YouTube, at least. Okay.
No.
Right.
A few people got that.
Then Dante says, perhaps Thanksgiving 2024 will see Trump getting an extra pudding cup for good behavior at his club-fed minimal security facility internship. Look, those are fair jokes at this point. I think you could make jokes like that in kind of a good-natured way. However,
I mean, there is a high degree of probability that Donald Trump gets convicted on several of the crimes that he's been indicted for. Because let's be fair, much like the case with Derek Chauvin, he can't get a fair trial. It's not an option.
Look, I'm just saying, if you want to create an orange Nelson Mandela,
yeah, good luck. I'll play that game too. It'll make for great YouTube content.
Yeah, you go right ahead. Go right ahead. Convict Trump.
So,
yeah, that would be a thing. Man, that would be a thing to be thankful for next Thanksgiving.
Donald Mandela.
Yeah. Boy, you guys that was like the ultimate FAFO right there. You convicted Donald Trump on some bullshit, and now he's president. And how's that working out for everybody? So that was the show.
What
did you do?
Well, because we're on the emergency backup stream, the buttons over here don't work. So we don't have this nice polished sounder to close out on, and we're going to put a pin in it. It just kind of stops.
That would have been much more impressive if it hadn't asked you to confirm.